Hey guys, this is Michael Parker. I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate the feedbacks on that last video. That one was pretty hard to talk about, but really means a lot to hear that people got something from that. So thank you guys for sharing your comments and everything with me. But today we're going to talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is another hard topic, something that a lot of us, especially myself, have struggled with, giving forgiveness and seeking forgiveness. There's a lot of baggage that I've carried around for a long time, some going back years, decades almost, of just stuff that I've kept trapped inside, things that I've done, things that other people have done to me. I've done a lot of things that I am not proud of, and things that I really wish I'd never done and I could take back. And I've had things done to me that I would be happier if they never happened. Thing is can't change the past. The past is the past. But you can choose to not let the past drag you down, and forgiveness is one of the best ways to do that. And it's something I didn't realize until a couple months ago, is the power of forgiveness. Not only forgiving others, but seeking forgiveness from others. I've actually been on a journey for month and a half now of just seeking out people and asking for forgiveness for things that I've done in the past. And one thing I found is that when I started asking others for forgiveness, you're admitting that you did wrong, which can be hard. It's pretty hard to say, hey, like, I messed up. But when you do that, you are giving them the chance to then forgive you. You're also giving yourself a chance to forgive yourself. A lot of times we hold that in there, and we're like, man, I did this wrong. And it's not until you offer forgiveness or seek out forgiveness that you're able to offer forgiveness to yourself. And that's important. You being able to forgive yourself and move past the mistakes that you made. That's where healing occurs. Is once you're able to forgive yourself, you can start to heal from what you've done. At the same time, when you offer up that forgiveness to those people, you're giving them a chance to heal. They can now forgive you and move past those wrongs that you've done. And it's nice to hear back, hey, I forgive you for what you did. But I've noticed there's been a few people who are like, hey, like, I forgive you, man. Like, I forgive you years ago, or I forgive you. There's a lot of people who read my messages and never responded. But it's not I can't make them forgive me. Like, that's a choice that they have to make. And that's the biggest thing with forgiveness, really, is forgiveness is a choice. It's your choice to seek out forgiveness. And it's also your choice to offer, to say, hey, I forgive you. And we'll go ahead and read the definition of forgiveness real quick for you guys. Forgiveness is intentional and voluntary process by which a victim undergoes a change in feeling and attitude regarding an offense. It's intentional and voluntary, which means forgiveness is something that you have to choose on your own. Somebody can't make you forgive somebody. It's something that you have to inside say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let this bring me down anymore. Yes, you did me wrong. Yes, that really hurt me. But you know what? I forgive you. that's where true freedom comes. And one thing I noticed when I started to offer out forgiveness, actually the first person I offered forgiveness to or seek out forgiveness from was my ex-wife. Opportunity kind of presented itself. She reached out to me out of the blue. I was like, hey, you know what? This is an accident. I think this is meant to be. I could feel this poking like, hey, you need to ask her for forgiveness for your part that you played in that failed relationship. So I did. I noticed that when I asked her to forgive me for what I had done, there was this weight that had been there for the last 3 years since we got a divorce, and actually longer than that when we were having issues. There was this anger and this resentment and this kind of beating myself up over things that I had done and things that had happened. It was like weighing me down. But when I said, hey, I'm sorry for X, Y, and Z, do you think you can forgive me for this? Just by admitting that and taking that step to say, hey, I was wrong, it lifted this weight off of me. I felt like 10 pounds lighter just by doing that. And it felt so good that I immediately started looking for other people to be like, hey, look, I did this wrong to you, and I'm sorry. It's just so freeing to offer up and say, hey, I made this mistake. Please forgive me. On the flip side, yeah, it can be hard to say, hey, like, you did this to me, like, and because of that, like, I have these issues. Like, it's hard to say, hey, I forgive you. But man, it's so freeing. And honestly, like, that's the biggest thing with forgiveness, is that freeing of yourself. When you don't forgive and you don't seek forgiveness, you just like chaining yourself down. You're carrying around this extra weight that you don't need to. You're giving that offense or that mistake you made so much power over you, so much more power than it should have. But when you say, hey, like, I'm sorry, or hey, I forgive you, just you're setting it free. It's no longer your responsibility. It's no longer on you. I'm not saying forget about what you've done. Definitely learn from what you did. Don't keep doing it. Don't do it again. But when you forgive, it frees you from that guilt and that shame and that anger, resentment, the hurt, all of that. When you're able to forgive, it makes things so much better. And it's just such a freeing feeling. Challenge for you guys this week: go out, seek one person that you've wronged and say, hey, look, I'm sorry, and see how that feels. See how freeing it is to ask one person to forgive you for a wrong. Doesn't matter how big or how small. Just go out, and I guarantee you ask for forgiveness from one person, and it's going to feel so much better. But that's all I got for you for this week. Love you guys. Look forward to some feedback on this. See you guys next week. God bless.